Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem, Kudash. Double honors unto the elder apostles of great Most Son of all world. And shalom to the whole four elect. This is First Samuel chapter 3, verse 1. And the child Samuel ministered unto the Lord Yahweh before Eli. And the word of the Lord Yahweh was precious in those days. There was no open vision. All right. So during these times, Samuel was ministering unto Eli. And the word of the Lord Yahweh was precious because there was no open vision in that day. So this really sets it up to show that anyone who the Lord will be dealing with, all right, giving vision or speaking to, would make that individual or that person, that brother, special, all right, by default. It came to pass at the time when Eli was laid down in his place and his eyes began to wax dim that he could not see. And ere the lamp of the Lord went out in the temple of the Lord Yahweh, where the ark of the Most High was, and Samuel was laid down to sleep, that the Lord Yahweh called Samuel, and he answered, Here I am. And he ran unto Eli and said, Here I am, here am I, for thou callest me. He said, I called not, lie down again. And he went to lay down. And the Lord Yahweh called yet again Samuel. And Samuel arose and went to Eli and said, Here am I, for thou didst call me. And he answered, I called not, my son. Lie down again. Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord Yahweh, neither was the word of the Lord Yahweh yet revealed unto him. And the Lord Yahweh called Samuel again the third time, and he arose and went to Eli and said, Here am I, here am I, for thou didst call me. And Eli perceived that the Lord Yahweh had called the child. All right. So after all of those times, Samuel um, going before Eli because he thought he was being called by him. Samuel and Eli perceived, clocked that it was the Heavenly Father calling unto him. All right, verse 9. Therefore Eli said unto Eli, Salakia. Therefore Eli said unto Samuel, Go lie down, and it shall be, if he call thee, that thou shalt say, Speak, Lord Yahweh, for thy servant heareth. So Samuel went to lay down in his place. And the Lord Yahweh came, excuse me, and stood and called as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel answered, Speak, for thy servant heareth. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Samuel, Behold, I will do a thing in Israel, at which both the ears of everyone that heareth it shall tingle. And in that day I will perform against Eli all things which I have spoken concerning his house. When I begin, I will also make an end. All right. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he knoweth, because his sons made themselves vile, and he restrained them not. All right. So this is the Heavenly Father following up on what he told Eli prior. All right. And this being the case, the Heavenly Father's word became precious. All right. Meaning that he wasn't the way he made himself known unto the people before, Eli being the judge over the people, he said he basically moved away from that and decided Samuel, as we could see, to be the next judge over the house of Israel. All right. And this is why he's making his plans known unto him, because he's going to stand up in his reign. Okay. So it says, verse 14, Therefore I have sworn unto the house of Eli that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be purged with sacrifice nor offering forever. And these are the kind of scriptures you read, and you know, they should instill fear in you, because that's the Heavenly Father basically saying, he's done with you. All right, he ain't gonna deal with you no more. And only this is where we stand with this thing of ours, all right, with this truth. We're doing this work in hopes that we're saved, all right, and it's never clear where you stand with the Heavenly Father. The only time you're gonna know is the time of judgment, all right, when the Heavenly Father sends forth the angels to set his sheep aside and aside from the goats for salvation. That's when it's gonna be made known who is his chosen, all right. So these things like this, being said unto, to Samuel, as far as regarding Eli, saying that there's no way for his iniquity to be purged, nor sacrifice, nor offering forever. These are the things that we, are mindful of in these times. Satan's working, man. There's even right now, everyone's dealing with some BS, man. And, you know, some things will blindside you and just, totally hit you for six, as they say in cricket. And this is, you have those things you go through. But then if that's the case, why is it happening? All right. Paul wrote, "We're not ignorant of Satan's devices." And Peter wrote in his epistle that Satan patrolleth as a lion seeking who he may uh, destroy. So basically, this, when you have these trials and tribulations, there's to the point of Satan trying to, weed you out of this truth. All right. But then what you have to do is you have to what, you know, as far as boxing's concerned, championship rounds, bite down on your gum shield, put your guard up and go to war. All right. So reading on verse 16, then Eli called Samuel and said, Samuel, my son. And he answered, Here am I. And he said, What is the thing that the Lord Jehovah hath said unto thee? I pray thee, hide it not from me. The Most High do so to thee, and more also if thou hide anything from me. And all things that he said unto thee. Right. And Eli, you know, he he didn't. I'd imagine he desired to hear from the Lord as much as you know more than anything, because as we read in the opening verse, it spoke about the word of the Heavenly Father was precious. So the fact that, even the last thing he was told was his judgment stand, his standing with the Heavenly Father. He still was desirous to hear the words of the Heavenly Father. And that really speaks to how precious that word is. All right. A man being condemned prior to with the last words that he heard, the Lord calling on to his understudy, he was desirous to hear those words as well. Verse 18, and Samuel told him every whit and hid nothing from him. And he said, It is the Lord Jehovah. Let him do what seemeth him good. All right. And Samuel grew, and the Lord Jehovah was with him, and did let none of his words fall to the ground. All right. So the Heavenly Father was with him, and none of his words fell to the ground. So that drought of the preciousness of the Heavenly Father's of the Heavenly Father's word was now established with Samuel, because the Heavenly Father didn't let none of his words drop to the ground. All right. So that showed that, that intermission, you could say, was um, a shift. All right, to basically put Samuel in that position to be the one to make it a clear, the clear declaration that he's the man. And as it's going to go on to say, and all Israel from Dan even to Beersheba knew that Samuel was established to be a prophet of the Lord Jehovah. All right, and this is how it goes. There's many a man that's coming to this truth. You look back, and they had a moment, man. They was the man, but those individuals are not here. All right, it's a battle of attrition. And ultimately, it's down to who the Heavenly Father chooses. Like Eli said, let the Most High do what seemeth what seemeth him good. The Most High is going to do what the Most High wants to do, because at the end of the day, He has the final say. So He's the Most High. All right, Yahweh, He to be. All right, the force. And the Lord, verse 21, and the Lord Yahweh appeared again in Shiloh, for the Lord Yahweh revealed himself to Samuel in Shiloh by the word of the Lord Yahweh. All right. So the Heavenly Father showed himself unto Samuel. And that really shows you, the contrast of how this this chapter started with what the word of the Heavenly Father's words being precious and not being heard. What did it say verbatim? Um, there not being no open vision. All right, to the point where at the end of it all, the revelation was with Samuel. All right. So with that, I pray we're at the third next one. Shalom.